documents showed the ATF used Fast and Furious to make the case for gun regulations. Now El Chapo's been found with 50 caliber rifles, you name it. And the big news today is there's evidence that more guns are still being shipped down to Mexico. We should see impeachment over this, shouldn't we? Kent Terry, brother of Brian Terry, who died in 2010, will be on first to break down the basics of what happened for those that may not know, and then what's developed since then. But reading over all this that you guys sent me, the fact that he had documents, handwritten notes in his boots hidden, the fact that the feds came in and took all his materials, the fact that he was warning family that he'd gotten into some serious investigations. Is it more than just some illegal alien drug dealer that shot and killed your brother? This thing looks like an even bigger cover-up to me, and I know that's the direction this is going. We're going to break it all down. Kent Terry, thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jones. I appreciate it.
Where should we start?
Well, everybody knows that Brian was killed with the Fast and Furious scandal by the Obama administration. But the thing is, though, the lies that my family's been told from day one. Since day one, they told us they found 3 weapons and they apprehended 4 suspects. Then within 12 hours later, they only found 2 weapons and they had to release the suspect. But we never knew about Fast and Furious until Cheryl Atkinson released the story with John Dodson. But in the meantime, prior to meeting with Cheryl Atkinson and the John Dodson release, Dennis Burke, which was the Attorney General, state attorney for Arizona, that was involved in Fast and Furious, made an appearance to our house, making sure that the weapons that Brian seen were not from Arizona; they were from a store in Texas. And we're thinking, this something ain't right with this whole thing. So when Cheryl Atkinson wanted that story out, right there we knew that this was a lie and a big cover-up in Brian's death.
There's patriots like Matt Smith-Meck out there, and I know he works with you and the family as a tireless investigator. Want to bring him in, jump in anytime you want, Kent, with points you want to make. 20-year veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, EA 6B Electronic Countermeasures Officer, attaining rank of Lieutenant Colonel before March 2006, veteran of Desert Shield, Storm, Bosnia Campaign, Operation Enduring Freedom. I'm not going to go over his whole bio. It would take about an hour to do that. All places he's been stationed, what he's been involved in. But I'd imagine all this background, working with FBI, CIA, DIA, you name it, it gives him a background to know what he sees when he sees it. Amazing info. How best to break down where your investigation's going? Because I see in your notes here you sent me that there's more shipments. It's ongoing. That is bombshell because, wow, Congress isn't really doing anything. And if this comes back out, this could really, really hopefully stop this activity, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Jones, hi, good afternoon. Yeah, I think you're right. It certainly would. And dovetailing on what Brian just said, we've been helping and working with the Terry family. And I think what is important is building off of what Brian said. You still have, there is a central figure that is, since 2012, has been trying to help law enforcement, House Oversight, and Senator Grassley's office. And interestingly, all of that, there's been a lot of action, but no vector, no direction. And also, interestingly, a friend of this program, as you know, Tosh Plumley and I, both from congressional offices, were admonished to stop talking to the Terry family because it was told it was worrisome and unwarranted. And when I talked to Kent, Kent said, "Hey, we've never talked to those folks. We never talked to anybody in Congress. We haven't said anything about you guys." But I find that bizarre. And I have actually an email from one of the people telling me to essentially back off. So we found that very striking. And I think importantly to what Brian was onto, we have, beginning of late last year, let ATF, both in Tucson and in the Chicago offices, know that weapons were still going across the border. We're going to go across in early November. Matter of fact, they went across on 10 November, the Marine Corps' birthday of all days. Nothing was done to stop it. They only met with the central character 3 days after the fact. And again, we've also alerted some folks in the congressional side because, talking to a lot of the folks who were lost their jobs or retired or got in trouble over trying to tell the truth on Fast and Furious. We're told, do not trust ATF leadership. Do not trust DOJ, OIG.
In your gut, looking at this and the way they've changed the story so much, and the fact that he had documents we're going to be showing to the TV part of the audience, basically hidden so that they would get to other people if something happened to him. I mean, this sounds like an action adventure whodunit movie to me.
We know what, Mr. Jones, from day one, I knew something wasn't right. I mean, especially when he told my mom 2 months before he got killed that, Mom, I don't want to go back. Something just doesn't feel right. I can't talk about it. My mom was like, Brian, you know what? If you don't want to go, don't go back. He goes, well, Mom, I love my job. I love this country. And a year later, when I was going through his materials and his belongings, I went to go try on these pair of boots, and I thought it was a paper from the brand new pair of boots, and I pulled out that journal. I started going through it, and I'm like, about him intercepting, pulling over people with crates full of AK-47s, and he had the GPS coordinates down there and everything, and was told by his supervisor to let go. Right there, I knew, you know what? The whole time of Brian's death did not add up. 15 minutes before he got off, the emails he wrote to the Border Patrol Union regarding a situation going on in the border, and the Border Patrol Union told us it wasn't about a transfer and it wasn't about a time off to look into it. So I think Brian was on to Fast and Furious. I don't think he knew the extent of it. I don't think he knew how big it really was. But in my gut, the timing of Brian's death does not add up to what the government's telling us.
What Fast and Furious was about was a political attack on the Second Amendment of the United States. The heck was some botched sting operation. The fact is that that's what the administration is trying to hide. That's what they don't want people to find out. The president wants to lead people to believe he's not attacking the Second Amendment. I believe these papers will show that they were doing everything to attack the Second Amendment.
What does this look like to you? I mean, we know they were doing it to blame the Second Amendment. Was there more? Why does El Chapo have all these Fast and Furious guns? Why does the media try to cover it up? I mean, what's the big picture? I know you don't like to speculate, but, we're 5-6 years into this now. We have a lot of pieces here. What do you think's going on?
Sure. What I would speculate is dovetailing on what Tosh Plumlee has been on your program before and talked about. This is I think, part of a much larger international gun running operation. As a matter of fact, a person in Congress had asked me to ask this central character, this integral figure that still is trying to help the Terry family, congressional oversight, that you have a nexus between Fast and Furious, and if not Benghazi, at least the Middle East. We know from accounts from the folks who are actually involved with running these weapons, in September of 2010, weapons separate from what we call Fast and Furious were run down to Mexico, down to a town in Mexico, Caborca, actually, met with an international Middle Eastern arms dealer, and en route over to the Middle East. This happened at least 3 times, again, starting in September of 2010, and I think of great import is a Moroccan DST commander. Their DST is their internal security forces. On 16 October 2010, reported to his supervisors that Fast and Furious weapons were in the Kingdom of Morocco en route to arm the rebels in Algeria. So here we have now a nexus from weapons going across the southern border into Mexico, and then from there going out to God knows where.
We're talking to recently retired Lieutenant Colonel Matt Smith-Meck, who has taken this case on. I should also add that they wrote a very powerful article that's not been published yet that was written for a major newspaper. I don't know if I'm allowed to say who. He can talk about it if he wants to. And that they said they would run it, but then they didn't run it.
It's a whole side of the story that's never been told. I mean, I never heard, except for talking to the Terry family, what Brian Terry was doing. I mean, this has never been reported on. And his concerns that he was approached by, quote, bad agents, unquote, that he used words he used to his mom, that they were aggressive, telling him to back off, that he didn't want to go back there, that his house was searched by the government without a court order or without permission of the family. That every electronic media device was taken out of his home because when his dad, Brian's dad, had told the U.S. attorney there, Burke, who now, by the way, from what Kent was telling me, is he and that former head of the Border Patrol down there in Arizona worked together at a high-powered law firm in D.C., that, you know, they went into his home and took every electronic media device, kept it away for a year, gave it back to the family with everything completely wiped. I mean, cell phones, computers, laptops. When you talk to the family, you get that detail. So my point is that, yes, sir, I think it's you had Brian, perhaps unbeknownst to the extent he was onto this. He was uncovering this, and when he would talk and call his superiors, they were told, "Let it go, let them go, let the vehicles go, let the weapons go." And he was finding, you know, weapons in crates, OEM, and original equipment manufacturing crates. As you said, sir, you don't go and get a lot of these things from a gun store. You know, when we told Representative Issa and House Oversight back in October 2013 that there were grenades and grenade launchers involved when these shipments go on south, you know, DOJ OIG didn't make that public until October 30th, 2014. So a year ahead of time, you know, we're telling Issa and House Oversight that this is going on. And again, a lot of commotion, a lot of, they say in physics, Brownian motion. There's a lot of activity, but no vector. And it's incomprehensible to me that, sir, that element that ATF, DEA, whomever else utilized to actually buy the weapons, run the weapons, it seems as if nobody in law enforcement or the oversight has utilized that same group of people to get the answers. And now, again, you have a central figure who is willing, has been since 2012, willing to work with, in this case, you know, law enforcement, House Oversight, Senator Grass's office, and no one's really pursued it. The only person really pursuing this now, save for you, is another investigative journalist on a major cable news network.
You know, give Brian the honor he deserves. I mean, don't shrug him off, throw him under the rug like he's some piece of dirt. And that's what this country's doing. Just not the country. Just, you know, the Congress and senators promised my family justice and accountability. Even Elijah Cummings promised my mom. And guess what? Nothing. Nothing has happened. They don't keep in contact with us. They don't tell us nothing. It's always, every time they do call us, they want to know what we know. And it's like, I'm getting sick of it. I mean, like I said, my brother served 20 years to this country, over 20 years. And this is what he gets in return?
The mainstream media is collapsing because they won't do their job. It is despicable. And thank you so much, Kent Terry, for your time. God bless you. Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water, pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a hybrid chromatic shell. It removes up to 99.999% of impurities, including bacteria, viruses, fluoride, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. Filter capacity up to 5,000 gallons. Stainless steel construction, easy assembly, low maintenance. Replacement filters are simple to install. And now, as part of an exclusive limited time introductory offer, you can save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139.